एक मंच जहां मिलती है महत्वपूर्ण जानकारियां।
सवाल हो और जवाब दूं।
एक मंच जहां होते हैं हंसी और ठहाके।
वाह।
एक मंच जहाँ होती हैं चर्चाएं।
दूसरी वाली आपको नहीं समर्पित करूंगा।
नहीं कीजिए, बड़े स्पोर्टिंग।
आप पहले सुन लीजिए, उसके बाद कहिएगा आपको चाहिए समर्पण कि नहीं चाहिए।
एक मंच जहां मिलेगा लोकप्रिय संगीत।
और इन सब के बीच एक ऐसा मंच जहां मिलता है सब कुछ। लॉग ऑन कीजिए www.radioudan.com और जुड़ जाइए हमारे साथ।
Inspirational Wings, a show to make you feel up, to make you feel enthusiastic. To listen to this beautiful inspirational ride, tune us on Radio Udaan every Thursday 9 to 10 p.m. and repeat every Friday 4 to 5 p.m. Happy listening with your own RJ Divya Sharma. गुड इवनिंग, नमस्ते एंड सत श्री अकाल। मैं हूं आपकी होस्ट एंड दोस्त आरजे दिव्या शर्मा और ये है आपका शो इंस्पिरेशनल विंग्स, ओनली ऑन रेडियो उड़ान, अ फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ। Before I begin this show, let me remind you that you can drop in or send your views, feedbacks and suggestions right here instantly through Skype. Please note down our Skype ID, that is Radio Udaan. Today in our first segment, we are going to talk about a moral story. The title is Pay Attention to What You Think. Pay attention to what you think. Your thoughts control your life. Pay attention to what you think because in every moment our thoughts and words are shaping our personality and therefore our lives. We are what we think about the world and what we think about ourselves. Think right and your personality, behavior and results will be right. Think wrong and your personality, behavior and results will be wrong. Our senses give us clarity. Without them, no improvement, expansion and growth would be reached. The more attention we pay to every detail of our lives, the more we use our senses and the more clarity we have. Clarity along with attention is essential. Clarity is one of the most important things we need to reach our dreams. Nobody can hit a target that he or she doesn't have. Lastly, remember friends that if you can't control your emotions, you cannot control your life or everything related and involved in it. And that's always there is a price to pay for your dreams. Wishing you all a fulfilled life. So, दोस्तों, this was the moral story titled Pay Attention to What You Think. As rightly told in this story, your thoughts control your life. आपके विचार, आपके thoughts, आपकी life को mold करते हैं. तो pay attention to what you think, pay attention to what you feel. There should be clarity to achieve your goals. So दोस्तों, on this note, let us move further to our second segment. Stay tuned, I'll be back just after this musical break with a beautiful audio clip. Keep listening and keep motivating.
Smile, an everlasting smile. A smile can bring you near to me. Don't ever let me find you gone, 'cause that would bring a tear to me. This world has lost its glory. Let's start a brand new story now. My love, you think that I don't even mean a single word I say. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away. Talk in everlasting words and dedicate them all to me. And I will give you all my life. I'm here if you should call to me. You think that I don't even mean a single word I say. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away. Da 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 da. This world has lost its glory. Let's start a brand new story now, my love. You think that I don't even mean a single word I say. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away.
A room without a book is a concrete desert. A person without a book is a cognizant dead carcass. Here comes Radio Udaan with a brand new show to help you to find your soul on every Tuesday 9 to 10 p.m. A look into a book. With me, Balanagendran. A look into a book. An excavation for eternal bliss.
Welcome back, friends. In this second segment, as I told you before, I'm going to play another beautiful audio clip. So I hope this audio clip will prove helpful for you and each of our listeners. So दोस्तों, I'll meet you just after this audio clip.
Most people do not know how to think. When they're faced with a problem, they will go to any length to avoid thinking. They will ask advice from the most illogical people, usually people who don't know any more than they do, next-door neighbors, members of their families. Very few of them have reference books. But much more important than that, only one in I don't know how many thousands will take a large notepad, write the problem at the top of the page, and then deliberately turn on his or her thinking apparatus. But some people do think. They do indeed. In order to reflect a moment on the human mind, consider what it's accomplished. As you do, realize that we are developing so rapidly that we've come further in the realm of progress in the past 50 years than in all the preceding 10,000 years of human civilization. Of all the scientists who ever lived, it's estimated that 90% of them are alive today. We've reached in the area of ideas and human advancement a plateau so high it was undreamed of by even the most optimistic forecasters as recently as 30 years ago. But every new idea triggers additional ideas, so that now we're in an era of compounding advancement on every front and in every area that stagger the imagination. The harnessing of the power of the sun in our atomic plants and ships, the speed of light computers, which in minutes save months and years of calculating drudgery. Every man-made thing you see and touch spawned from the most powerful agency in the world, the human mind. Dr. Harlow Shapley of Harvard has said that we're now entering an entirely new age of man. He calls it the Psychozoic age, the age of the mind. And you, my friend, own one, free and clear. Now let's look at a few facts. The 40-hour week long standard is in imminent likelihood of being even further shortened. This means that the average working person has at his disposal an enormous amount of free time. In fact, if you will total the hours in a year and subtract the sleeping hours, if he or she sleeps 8 hours every night, you'll find that this person has about 6,000 waking hours, of which less than 2,000 are spent on the job. Now, this leaves 4,000 hours a year when a person is neither working nor sleeping. These can be called discretionary hours with which that person can do pretty much as he or she pleases. So that you can see the amazing results in your own life, I want to recommend that you take just 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, and devote this hour to exercising your mind. You don't even have to do it on weekends. Pick 1 hour a day on which you can fairly regularly count. The best time for me is an hour before the others are up in the morning. The mind's clear, the house is quiet, and if you like, with a fresh cup of coffee, this is the time to start the mind going. And here's one good way to do it. During this hour every day, take a completely blank sheet of paper. At the top of the page, write your present primary goal, clearly, simply. Then, since our future depends upon the way in which we handle our work, write down as many ideas as you can for improving that which you now do. Try to think of 20 possible ways in which the activity that fills your day can be improved. You won't always get 20, but even one idea is good. Now remember 2 important points with regard to this. 1, this is not particularly easy. And 2, most of your ideas won't be any good. When I say it's not easy, I mean it's like starting any other habit. At first, you'll find your mind a little reluctant to be hauled up out of that old familiar bed. But as you think about your work and ways in which it might be improved, write down every idea that pops into your head, no matter how absurd it might seem. Let me tell you what'll happen. Some of your ideas will be good and worth testing. The most important thing, however, that this extra hour accomplishes is that it deeply embeds your goal into your subconscious mind, starts the whole vital machinery working the first thing every morning, and 20 ideas a day, if you can come up with that many, total 100 a week, even skipping weekends. An hour a day, 5 days a week, totals 260 hours a year, and still leaves you 3,740 hours of free leisure time. Now, this means you'll be thinking about your goal and ways of improving your performance, increasing your service. 6.5 full extra working weeks a year, 6.5 40-hour weeks devoted to thinking and planning. Can you see how easy it is to rise above that so-called competition? And it'll still leave you with 7 hours a day to spend as you please. Starting each day thinking, you'll find that your mind will continue to work all day long, and you'll find that at odd moments when you least expect it, really great ideas will begin to bubble up from your subconscious. When they do, write them down as soon as you can. Just one great idea can completely revolutionize your work and, as a result, your life. If you want to develop the muscles of your body, you take daily exercise of some sort. The mind is developed in the same way, except that the returns are out of all conceivable proportion to the time and energy spent. The mind of man can lift anything. His muscles, even the best developed, are puny alongside those of some of the dumbest animals on earth. If man had depended on his muscles for survival, he probably would have disappeared, as did the dinosaurs, which were, incidentally, the most physically powerful and most successful creatures that ever lived. Let me give you just some of the results people have reported to me as a consequence of following this 1 hour a day routine. An office equipment salesman sold more of his company's product in 1 month than he had formerly sold in an entire year during the 4 years he'd been with his company. A Sunday school teacher with 5 pupils set a goal of 30 pupils. Her last letter told me she now has a class of 25. She's almost reached her goal. I've used this system for years, and it's given me some of the most gratifying and rewarding experiences of my life. And it costs only 5 hours a week. 5 hours out of 168. Is it worth it? It's like spending 5 hours a week digging in a solid vein of pure gold, because your mind is all of that and much more. Each time you write your goal at the top of the sheet of paper, don't worry or become concerned about it. Think of it as only waiting to be reached, a problem only waiting to be solved. Face it with faith and bend all the great powers of your mind toward solving it. And believe me, solve it you will. You know, this puts each of us in the driver's seat.
तो दोस्तों, this was a nice audio clip for bringing a revolution in our day-to-day life. You never know which idea can change your life for better. So दोस्तों, this was a audio regarding how we can write down our ideas, no matter how petty or how huge these are. But sometimes these ideas can prove remedy or can prove a way to betterment. So दोस्तों, after listening this audio clip, let us take a small musical break and I will meet you after this musical break. I hope you like this audio clip, and if you find it worth, then what else you need? Anyways दोस्तों, keep listening and keep motivating. I'll be back just after this musical break. Happy listening. मैं हूँ आपकी होस्ट एंड दोस्त आरजे दिव्या शर्मा और शो चल रहा है इंस्पिरेशनल विंग्स ओनली ऑन योर फेवरेट रेडियो स्टेशन रेडियो उड़ान.
इश्क लबों पे इश्क दुआ में जिस्म में रूह में इश्क रवा 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 इश्क नजर में इश्क बशर में अक्स में रक्त में इश्क निशा 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 दम मलंग मलंग दम दम मलंग 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 दम दम मलंग 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 दम इश्क इश्क है मलंग मेरा दम मलंग मलंग दम दम मलंग 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 दम दम मलंग 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 दम इश्क इश्क है मलंग मेरा इश्क है आवारा इश्क है बंजारा इश्क है अंगारा रहता है पैदा है ये इश्क सदों में इश्क में मिट जाऊं इश्क में बह जाऊं इश्क में हो जाऊं बना 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 मलंग मलंग दम दम मलंग 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 दम दम मलंग 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 दम इश्क इश्क है मलंग मेरा दम मलंग मलंग दम दम मलंग 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 दम दम मलंग 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 दम इश्क इश्क है मलंग मेरा मेरी मन्नतों में मेरी जन्नतों में तेरा ही तेरा शुमार है मेरी चाहतों पे मेरी राहतों पे तेरा ही तेरा खुमार है मलंग मलंग है तेरे ही लिए हूँ मलंग मेरी उल्फतों में मेरी शिद्दतों में सजदों में तेरा ही नूर है मेरी बेखुदी में मेरी दिलकशी में तेरी बंदगी में दिल चूर है मलंग मलंग में तेरे ही लिए हूँ मलंग मैं यहाँ वहाँ जाऊँ जहाँ दर बदर बदर तेरे लिए रहती हूँ बेसबर सबर तेरी बेकरारियों में इश्क इश्क है मलंग मेरा दम मलंग मलंग दम दम मलंग 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 दम दम मलंग 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 दम इश्क इश्क है मलंग मेरा दम मलंग मलंग दम दम मलंग 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 दम दम मलंग 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 दम इश्क इश्क है मलंग मेरा दम मलंग मलंग दम दम मलंग 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 दम दम मलंग 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 दम इश्क इश्क है मलंग मेरा
दोस्तों, now we have stepped in our third segment, and in this segment we are going to talk about motivation, courage, determination and inspiration. And our today's story is the inspiring life of Kalpana Saroj, a multi-millionaire Dalit woman who was married off at 12. India's caste system is an ancient social hierarchy which places people into different categories by birth. Those born in the lower castes have historically faced discrimination. More than 160 million people in India are considered untouchable. People tainted by their birth into a caste system that deems them impure, less than human. Human rights abuses against these people, known as Dalits, are legal. A random sampling of headlines in mainstream Indian newspapers tells their story. For example, Dalit boy beaten to death for plucking flowers, and many similar instances in our newspapers. But one woman has managed to change this existing status. The multi-millionaire Dalit woman, Kalpana Saroj. The dark horse, Kalpana Saroj, is one woman whose story begs to differ. Hailing from Martizapura, a hamlet in the interiors of Maharashtra, and being born in a low-caste Dalit family, she has had her shares of agony and misfortune. But she was one of the rare individuals who, by her sheer hard luck and perseverance, managed to turn the tables around. Today, she is a multi-millionaire at the helm of a successful company. She rubs shoulders with prominent businessmen and has won several prestigious awards for her professionalism. Now let us talk about the early, distressful years of her life. Even though her father allowed her to get an education, wider family pressures saw Kalpana become a bride at the age of just 12. She moved to Mumbai to be with her husband, who was 10 years older, but was shocked to find herself living in a slum. But that was not the only hardship she had to endure. She underwent unspeakable torture at the hands of her brother-in-law and his wife. She finally abandoned the alliance with support from her father and was taken back to her village. Driven to despair by her wretched circumstances, she attempted suicide, but somehow survived. At the moment, she decided that she would achieve something and live life on her terms. Determined to make it big, she returned to Mumbai a few years later and stayed with an uncle. Working in a hosiery company, she earned out a living and managed to earn ₹2 a day. But it was in the rough and tumble of Mumbai's underbelly that she acquired her raw aggression, determination, and earthly approach to conducting business. Her advent in the world of business was born out of misfortune. In the mid-1980s, her second husband passed away and she inherited a fabrication unit for making cheap tin and steel almirahs. It wasn't much of a business, but she quickly learned the ropes. The unit helped her to make ends meet and raise her 2 children. She even managed to put some money away. It was in the construction industry that Saroj really owned her business acumen. It was a tough business and she had to frequently confront shady elements and opposition of all hues. Now दोस्तों, we will talk about carving a niche in the case of Kalpana Saroj, but just after this short musical break. So we are talking about inspiring story of Kalpana Saroj, a multi-millionaire Dalit woman. I'll meet you just after this musical break. Keep listening. Radio Udaan.
Escucha el ritmo de tu corazón. Feel the rhythm. From the coast of Ipanema to the island of Capri, all the way to Kuala Lumpur, I will follow you wherever you may be. From the moment I first saw you, knew my heart could not be free. I have to hold you in my arms now. There can never be another for me. All I need is a rhythm divine, lost in the music, your heart will be mine. All I need is to look in your eyes, viva la música, say you'll be mine. Can you feel the heat of passion? Can you taste our love's sweet wine? Join the dance and let it happen. Put tomorrow's cares right out of your mind. As the music drives you closer, when you fall under my spell, I will get you in my arms now. What the night can take is no one can tell. All I need is a rhythm divine, lost in the music, your heart will be mine. All I need is to look in your eyes, viva la música, say you'll be mine. Gonna have this feeling forever, gonna live this moment together, nothing else matters, just you and the night. Follow the wings of desire, now the rhythm's taking you higher, no one can stop us from having it all. You are my heart, you are my soul. All I need is a rhythm divine, lost in the music, your heart will be mine. All I need is to look in your eyes, viva la música, say all I need is a rhythm divine, lost in the music, your heart will be mine. All I need is to look in your eyes, viva la música, say you'll be mine. Can you feel the rhythm? Can you feel the rhythm? Can you feel the rhythm burning, burning? Can you feel the rhythm? Can you feel the rhythm? Can you feel the rhythm burning, burning? Can you feel the rhythm? Can you feel the rhythm? Can you feel the rhythm burning, burning? Can you feel the rhythm? Can you feel the rhythm? Can you feel the rhythm burning, burning?
लिसनर्स, म्यूजिकल ब्रेक पे जाने से पहले बात हो रही थी कल्पना सरोज की, एन इंस्पायरिंग स्टोरी ऑफ कल्पना सरोज. We were it was a tough business and she had to frequently confront shady elements and opposition of all hues. Now let us resume this story in this segment. Now we are going to talk about carving a niche. Kamini Group's case was a historic one in India. In 1988, the Supreme Court had decided to make the workers the owners of the company due to issues between the workers' union and management. Kamini Tubes went bankrupt and was facing liquidation. Kalpana came into the picture only in the year 2000 when the company had a debt of rupees 116 crore, 140 litigation cases and 2 workers' unions. Kamini Tubes had no significant assets to its name. The factory in Karla, Mumbai was not operational. Machine parts had been stolen. The office space was occupied by tenants who had been there for years. The 4-acre land the factory stood on was divided between Kamini Metals and Kamini Engineering. She met with representatives of the banks, the Board for Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, BIFA, and the government. Their brief to her was simple. If she wanted to help, she could pay rupees 2.5 crore and take charge of the company. That is what she did. She had studied the company's problems and realized that the debt had built up because of interest and penalties. She approached the finance minister around 2005 and requested that these be waived off. Her grounds for the request were that if the company goes into liquidation, the banks would get nothing. But since she was trying to turn the firm around, if they were waived, it would be possible for her to pay the debt back. Her good intentions were noticed. The minister called up the chairman of all the banks and got them to waive the extra charges off, and the liabilities came down to about rupees 45 crores. This was just one part of the problem with this firm. The other was the 140 litigation cases. They were tackled systematically and the company was finally released from the BIFR in June 2011. She restarted the factory on her own land in Wada, Thane. Gradually, the company limped back to normalcy with a better production and distribution network. It paid off the workers and was able to give back the dues of the original owners. Now let us talk about her awe-inspiring, ever-increasing progress. You know friends, today she presides over varied businesses. The single factory Sai Krupa Sankar Khankana in Ahmednagar, in which she holds a substantial stake, is graduating to an integrated sugar complex. Capacity has been enhanced to 7,500 TCD and a 60 KLD distillery is coming up. They are also building a 35 MW co-graduation power plant. A diversification into steel manufacturing and mining has come about recently. Initial investments of rupees 10 crore for 100 tons per day steel plant has been made at Wada, on the outskirts of Mumbai. A bauxite mining initiative across 1,230 acres in Adgir, along the Maharashtra-Karnataka border, is being drawn out. Meanwhile, she has also brought back the Kamni brand in the Gulf through All Kamni in Kuwait and Kalpana Saroj LLC in Dubai to cater to the huge demand for copper tubes, especially from the water and sanitation sector. In a nation where Dalits are even now looked upon by many strata of the society, her success story fosters the belief that nothing can stop a person who is willing to fight through all the odds. So dosto, this was the inspiring story of Kalpana Saroj, a multi-millionaire Dalit woman who despite all the odds acquires a prestigious place in business world. So dosto, this was the inspiring story which inspires each of us. Now let us meet in our next segment. Till then, have a short musical break. See you after this break.
दिलकश नजारे देखे, झिलमिल सितारे देखे, आंखों में फिर भी तेरा चेहरा है जवां। कितनी बरसातें आई, कितनी सौगातें लाई, कानों में फिर भी गूंजे तेरी ही सदा। वादे किए थे अपना होगा आशिया, वादों का जाने होगा क्या। तन्हा दिल तन्हा सफर ढूंढे तुझे, फिर क्यों नजर तन्हा अब ले जाएंगी कहाँ, मिट्टी की खुशबू आए, पलकों पे आंसू लाए, पलकों पे रह जाएगा यादों का जहां। मंजिल नहीं है अनजाना है कारवां, चलना अकेले है यहाँ, तन्हा दिल तन्हा सफर, ढूंढे तुझे फिर नजर, तन्हा दिल तन्हा सफर, ढूंढे तुझे फिर क्यों नजर, तन्हा दिल।
India, yeah, India, we will sing. We are one Indians, we are Indian.
ये आवाज है हमारे मेंबर्स के द्वारा भेजे जाने वाले ईमेल कम्युनिकेशन की। ये आवाज है हमारे ग्रुप के द्वारा ऑर्गेनाइज की जाने वाली कन्वेंशन और वर्कशॉप में पार्टिसिपेट करने वाले लोगों की।
और इन सब का नाम है से एवरीथिंग।
Say Everything is a group of integration.
से एवरीथिंग यानी एक आवाज, विचार और अभिव्यक्ति की।
Say Everything means a group of free expression.
Say Everything is an international mailing list to learn and share, where the subscribers can discuss every topic of common interest via email exchange from around the world.
For more information and to subscribe our mailing list, please log on to www.sayeverything.org.
Say Everything, India's #1 international mailing list. Come and join us today.
तो आ गए हैं हम लास्ट सेगमेंट में इस इंस्पिरेशनल राइड की। शो चल रहा है आपका अपना इंस्पिरेशनल विंग्स और मैं हूं आपकी दोस्त होस्ट आरजे दिव्या शर्मा। तो जल्दी से मैं आपको बता देती हूँ कि आप कैसे अपनी व्यूज, फीडबैक, सजेशंस और आइडियाज हमारे साथ शेयर कर सकते हैं। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, यू कैन विजिट अवर वेबसाइट www.radioudan.com. There you will find a form submission and you can submit your feedbacks therein. You can also add us on Skype. Our Skype ID is Radio Udaan. And yes, if you are using Facebook, then don't forget to like our Facebook page. Our URL is www.facebook.com/Radio Udaan. And you can also drop in your messages to me on my Radio Udaan ID, that is divya@Radio Udaan. And if you have skipped any episode of any show of Radio Udaan, then don't worry. Just visit our website and go into the segment archive. There you can request your desired episodes. So दोस्तों, now stay tuned on Radio Udaan because coming up next is Jyoti Malik with the show A Date with the State. Happy listening, and I will meet you the same day Thursday, the same time 9 to 10, and repeat broadcast every Friday 4 to 5 p.m. only on Radio Udaan, a flight of life. तो लेती हूँ मैं आपसे अलविदा, बाय बाय। मिलूंगी आपको नेक्स्ट वीक यहीं पे। मैं हूँ आपकी होस्ट एंड दोस्त आरजे दिव्या शर्मा, डायरेक्ट फ्रॉम नयानंगल स्टूडियो, पंजाब। हैप्पी लिसनिंग, गुड लक एंड बेस्ट विशेष। Now this last inspirational song is for all my listeners. Take care.
झुक जाए सर जहां वहीं मिलता है रब का रास्ता। तेरी किस्मत तू बदल दे, रख हिम्मत बस चल दे, तेरे साथी मेरे कदमों के हैं निशान। तू ना जाने आस पास है खुदा, पास है खुदा, तू न जाने आस 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 पास है खुदा। खुद पे डाल तू नजर, हालातों से हार कर कहाँ चला रे। हाथ की लकीर को मोड़ता मरोड़ता है हौसला रे। तो खुद तेरे ख्वाबों के रंग में तू अपने जहां को भी रंग दे, कि चलता हूँ मैं तेरे संग में। हो शाम भी तो क्या जब होगा अंधेरा, तब पाएगा दर मेरा, उस दर पे फिर होगी तेरी सुबह। तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा, तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा, तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा, तू न जाने आस पास है खुदा। मिट जाते हैं सबके निशान, बस एक वो मिटता नहीं है। मान ले जो हर मुश्किल को मर्जी मेरी है। ओ हम सफर न तेरा जब कोई तू हो, जहाँ रहूंगा मैं वहीं, तुझसे कभी नहीं तू
आप सुन रहे हैं रेडियो उड़ान, द फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ, वर्ल्ड्स नंबर 1 इंटरनेट रेडियो स्टेशन ऑफ इट्स ओन काइंड। सुनते रहिए और एंजॉय कीजिए रेडियो उड़ान।